Hi everyone, it's Matt here from Greatness Every Day, and in this video I want to talk about how sometimes the elevation in your life requires the separation from the different things in your life. So if we get started, this is a concept that I've been really kind of dreaming up and thinking about quite a bit, and it's something that I've heard many times from many different leaders in the personal development world, in the business world, and in many other places. But what I want to do first is discuss those two terms, right? Those two terms we just talked about at the beginning were elevation and separation. And I think it's important to define those two terms so we know exactly what we're talking about here and we can really start implementing it into our lives. And that's something you can do right away after watching this entire video. So let's start out by discussing what elevation means. And I really think that if we're talking about elevation, we're thinking vertically here, right? So let's say that your life, quality of life is right here, right now, okay? So you're going ahead and you're saying, well, this is the current state that I'm in. And what we want to be doing is we want to be progressing forward. We want to be moving forward and always getting better. So what happens is we don't want to be going downwards, right? That's a negative, that's a regression. What do we want to be doing is progressing, moving forward. So that's what elevation is to me. Let's say that your quality of life is just right here. You want to be moving up. You want to be getting better. You want to have greater relationships. You want to make more money. You want to become more fulfilled or more happy. Whatever you're talking about elevating your quality of life in different areas. And one of the big words, if you could sum this up in one word, I would say you're just looking up, or maybe one phrase. Let's say you're just rising up. Okay, you're moving forward, you're rising up, you're progressing. And that's really what I want you to think about here as a representation for the term elevation. And one of the things I'm going to do for you here with Greatness Every Day is I'm going to motivate you, I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to ultimately challenge you to think about what it means to be successful, to think about what it means to live a great life. But I'm not going to tell you what that means for you, because what you deem success, what you deem greatness is way different potentially than what I think of a great or a successful life. So one of the things I'll do is I'll motivate you, I'll challenge you, I'll inspire you and encourage you, but I'm not going to tell you. I don't think that's my duty to tell you, but I really want you to be able to go deep with the stuff that we discuss on this channel. And if you have any questions or any comments, let me know down in the comments below. Let's start by talking about number two, that second term we just talked about, which is separation. So just like elevation, I said, is more the vertical, the rising and moving, progressing forward. Okay, what happens with separation is I want you to think about the horizontal here. Okay, so let's say you have your current state right now represented by this fist, and you have kind of one of the things that are holding you back. Okay, things hold you back and stop you from elevating that are close to you. So let's say these yourself and these, whatever it is, it could be one of many things we'll talk about in this video, but they're close to each other right now. So what happens is you need to separate from those things that are holding you back in order for you to elevate, right? And once that separation occurs, there's a very obvious split, right? The separation, to separate means to have two things or become completely apart from each other, right? There is an obvious gap. There's distance in between these. These things were one, but now they're two separate identities, all right? So one of the things that we talk about is sometimes that separation is required for your elevation, whatever that means. And I want you to just think about the idea and the question, what is holding you back? Okay, what are the things? Maybe you can identify 1, 2, 3 things. Maybe you can identify 20 things that are holding you back. Because I think if we really take a deep and honest look at what's holding us back, we're probably going to find a lot more than we'd like to actually admit. Okay, myself included. When I think about what are some of the things that are holding me back, sometimes, at least at one time, I didn't really take a deep and honest look, but I'm definitely much more advanced in really kind of not being afraid how I feel, not being afraid to recognize how I feel or what I think or what others think of me, and really go deep and really speak and live out my truths. So that's the question I want you to think about right now. What is holding you back? And I'm gonna give you 4 points in this video, 4 points that I've come up with that I say these are some of the big things for me that I've kind of wrestled with over the years that I feel have been holding me back and really kind of inhibiting that elevation of the areas that I want to elevate in my life and get better at. So these 4 things are not an exhaustive list, but they're 4 things that I hope will help you. So let's get started by talking about number 1, which is your mindset. right? Mindset so often holds us back, and we need to separate from those bad or negative mindsets in order for us to elevate here and elevate our lives, right? Mindset, limiting beliefs in particular. Limiting beliefs say they're limiting, and they're beliefs that we have that limit us, that inhibit us, that stop us from progression. And limiting beliefs are anything that do exactly that. Some real world examples of limiting beliefs are, maybe let's say you don't believe you're from the right city in order to start a business. Maybe you live in a rural area, so you're not inside a city, and you say, oh, people from rural areas don't start this business. They don't join the music industry or anything like that, so I can't do that, right? That's a limiting belief that you might have. People from different countries might have that belief. Oh, maybe that's only a Western thing. Maybe that's something only Americans or Canadians or Europeans can do. But from my part in the world, no, we can't do that. Right? So those are two examples of limiting beliefs, and an example of how mindset so often can hold you back from progressing. The second one I want to talk about here is sometimes it's very easy to always be waiting for that perfect time. And I really should say perfect time, because I personally don't believe that there might not necessarily be a perfect time, right? Sometimes you just have to act. Sometimes you just have to do. Sometimes you just have to do something and really kind of deal with the consequences, whether the choice you made was a good one, whether the choice you made was maybe a neutral one, or even if it was a bad one. Sometimes by just acting and doing something, you're going to learn so many valuable lessons along the way. And the risk that I've had in the past is so many times I'm just saying, oh, I'm just waiting for the perfect time, or maybe the time's not right. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. And really, maybe that's a result of my indecision or my lack of decision, or my ability to follow through what I might know might be the right decision, but I just won't make it. And sometimes that perfect time passes me by, right? And sometimes that perfect time does not exist anymore because I've waited and waited and waited. The third thing I want you to think about here is really kind of trying to do everything on your own, or trying to do everything by yourself, and really kind of with that belief. Okay, you can really kind of do so much more if you're able to move past that belief and really kind of elevate the life that you want to really kind of have and accomplish because of that, right? So trying to do everything yourself. I think that in our society, at least I can speak to Western society in North America, there's so many times that we are often taught, or we think that we've been taught, that we have to do everything on our own because of pride, or because of resources, or because we're afraid to kind of have people think that we can't do something, right? There's so many reasons that we try to do everything on our own. And if we're able to move past this, and if we're able to delegate tasks, right? Somebody might be better at a certain task if we're looking at kind of within our coworkers. Somebody definitely is better at the arts and the creativity side than I am. That is not my world. I know that, I recognize that. So if I can, I want to delegate that task to somebody that's going to do a much better job. And I don't view that as like a weakness for myself. I view that as a strength within the team. So that could be an example of trying to do everything yourselves. And there's various reasons, like I said, that we do try to do everything ourselves. Maybe we want the recognition. Maybe it's pride, like I said before. But if you can move past that and really kind of look at the strengths of others, and really kind of looking at the final product that you're going to deliver, or the final service that your business can offer people, right? If you bring somebody on board that really knows what they're doing and really knows their stuff, it might save you time, it might save you energy, and it's probably going to save you a lot of money as well, depending on if you bring somebody on that knows what they're doing. So that's the third one. And number four, the fourth thing I want you to think about, really kind of how does that hold you back? Do you need to separate from it, or maybe it needs to separate from you in order for you or somebody else to elevate? Is relationships. And with relationships, we're talking about friendships, we're talking about romantic relationships, maybe family relationships, co-workers, and professional relationships. There's so many things that we can talk about with relationships that really kind of help elevate your life for the better. Or maybe you're also the person that somebody needs to separate from, right? I'm not going to just point the finger the whole time and play the blame game here. I'm going to say, yeah, sometimes we are the ones that people need to separate from because we're human, right? That's just the reality of it. And that might not be the message that you want to hear watching this video, and I hope that it's not, but I really challenge you to think about kind of what role others play in our lives, but at the same time, while we're doing that, reciprocate that. Think about what role we play in other people's lives as well. And do we need to separate from certain relationships, and will that elevate our lives? And what I want you to think about is sometimes you make that choice to separate from those things that are holding you back, and sometimes you don't, right? Sometimes there are just choices that are made by somebody else, or things that are just out of your control that you have no say in. And I want you to be able to go, after this video, go deep in thinking and analyzing, reflecting on what are the things that are holding you back, and really kind of how can you separate from those things that you need to in order to elevate your quality of life. So if you have any other things to say, I'd love to start the conversation down in the comments below. And if this video helped, please let me know by clicking the thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Instagram for daily inspiration and encouragement to live a great life. Remember, choose greatness every day, and we'll see you next time.